Hey, I'm Unique Love, aka Yaya, BKA, Shakita Banana, poet, blogger, food enthusiast, therapist, and BFF of Monie.
And I am LoveLoudd, aka Monie, poet, writer, audio engineer, mentor, creative director, and Yaya's bestie. And together we are LoveLoudd LLC.
2008 marks the year we met at the illustrious Clark Atlanta University. 2016 is when we became business partners. And in 2020, we started our lovely podcast, Truth Carpet.
Truth Carpet was inspired by our real life carpet in our dorm room that we sat on with our friends to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Our version of Vegas. What was said on the carpet stayed on the carpet.
On our podcast, we will share original poems, discuss spicy topics, and quench your thirst with this here tea.
So grab your drink and let's get into it. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I hope y'all had a wonderful 2 weeks where y'all were waiting for us to come back and bless y'all with our voices. We are back, we are here, and we are excited to be having y'all here with us on the Truth Carpet. It is I, your girl, Simone Loud, and as always, you know who I'm co-hosting with. Bruh, over here playing, not ready.
No. I was talking.
And you was on mute.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Chiquita Banana. Like, come on. Get it together. My intro was flawless. And you over here got yourself on mute. Not even ready. Tell the people hello. Tell the people hello.
I'm so sorry. I was so ready for my introduction. It was about to be so fire, y'all, but I didn't remember I pushed the mute button. Hey, y'all, it's Yaya from the East Coast, also known as Shakita Banana, Monie's best friend, y'all. How are you, Monie, today, my best?
From my face, you can tell I'm just disappointed. Oh, my gosh. But aside from your muteness, I am actually very good. Super excited. Can't wait for summer. I got a lot of things popping off, LoveLoudd got popping off, and I cannot wait for everybody to know what we got going on, especially with the, being summertime fine, I want to see the results of what I've been doing. Okay. I've stopped looking at the scale and started paying attention to how my clothes fit. And I must say, damn girl, when I look in the mirror, that's what I say. Hey, look at you ready with the sale.
I got you, girl. I got you.
But yeah, I am ready for the summer. I'm ready for the summer though.
Yes, girl. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Look at this.
Oh,
okay. You see that? Okay. Wait, so you won't think it's the same?
It has 2 unfinished bottles of water.
But look, it's a little bit on the bottom. Go. I've been drinking water.
That's your face over there looking like Nemo.
I've been drinking my water, minding my business, doing what I gotta do. I've been gaining my gut back, but that's okay. It comes and it goes.
It does what it want to do.
It does what it wants to do. My calves have been really tight this week, so I have started going back to the gym because I've gotten back to a point where I was letting other things take over my life. And when I say other things, I mean the 9-to-5 things and the other people's things and the other people's things that I wasn't paying attention to my own personal necessities. Like I remember when you and I sat down and we talked about our goals for this year. And I did the same thing with Tay. And I was like, okay, every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be my gym day. And then you sent me something on TikTok where this girl was laying out Mondays are for this and Tuesdays are for this, and not Sunday, but Saturday is the day that you should be planning for your week. I wrote that in my journal. I was like, yes, it's about to go down. This is about to be a great year. I'm about to be great. I was doing it, taking my baths with my music and candles every Thursday. It was great. But then it fell off because I started prioritizing other stuff and not prioritizing Yaya. And without doing that for myself, I fell off. And then I started to feel overwhelmed and everything. So now I've started back this week drinking more water. I went to the gym one time, but I'm starting. And I feel better than I felt before. It's in the sunlight too. Hello, like the sun is out over here.
Yes.
So
Shining,
that's helping as
shining,
well.
yeah.
So I'm feeling really good. And I too am excited for the summer because it's been a cold winter. It's been a cold winter. It's been dark. It's been lonely at night.
Oh
Night, night.
my gosh, yo. Not the Lonely at Night song.
Yes. It's been lonely, and I've been just looking forward to getting outside and doing stuff with friends. Even doing stuff by myself. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I went to meditate at the park by myself, and then later that day I went out to eat with a friend. And this weekend I have plans with a friend. So just with a friend, with the friend, with the friend, I have like all of it lined up. And I'm gassed up for this summer for all the events that's gonna be going on. And I'm gonna be waxed up and vaxxed up.
Waxed up and vaxxed up. Put it on a shirt. I'm just saying.
This summer. I am so looking forward to it. So round of applause.
Wow, you was really serious about having these sound effects ready for this episode.
For Black Girl Magic. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yo, so as of yesterday, I started juicing again. I don't know why I decided to do this to myself because I love food. And I'm like, I don't see how people that love food, like I love food, can
Your mom told us you love food.
Right. At least my mom has attested to the fact that I'm always hungry. So the fact that I even tried juicing, this is only my second time. And the second day is always better than the first day. And I like the results that I have in the end, which is why I'm like, let me just get through it. Let me just do it. But I really be wanting a snack. And I was doing creating vision boards with my students today. And one of my students wanted his vision board to be nothing but food. I'm cutting out pictures of cheeseburgers, ice cream, pretzels, Starbucks, coffee. Like,
what grade?
6th grade. He wanted his whole vision board to be about food. And I was just like, I'm gonna help you cut this food out. But as I'm cutting, I'm like, dang, this burger look good.
Of course.
I was like, oh, look how the cheese melting. This is a good picture of this burger.
Now look at how the cheese melting.
Yes, the cheese was. I'm a cheese lover. That's the only. I think that's the only reason that's gonna keep me from going fully vegan is cheese. I've had vegan cheese. I could eat it, but I don't know. I love cheese. Like I drink almond milk. I don't drink regular milk anymore, but I still eat cheese. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I be trying. I really do. But vegan cheese just don't be it for me. I don't know. Maybe unless I can like really find a good vegan cheese flavor, I could probably do it. I don't know. We shall see though.
A lot of people say that. People who I know who don't eat meat and they want to go full like hardcore vegan. It's the same thing. It's the cheese. Because almond milk, I've been drinking almond milk for a long time. And oat milk, oh my God. Whoever came up with the idea of soaking oats in water and creating oat milk, God bless them. Because I love oat milk. It hits, especially in your smoothie. Woo, it's so good. But I love cheese. I have had vegan cheese before that wasn't really bad, but I can't remember what brand it was, and I haven't seen it in my supermarket, the one that I got it from, as of late. So it's like, dang. And every time I say that to people, they be like, what brand? So that's why I had to make sure I told y'all. Exactly. I don't remember what brand it was because everyone's saying the same thing. But you mentioned in the juicing, first of all, I want to know how it's going this time. But I know every time that I've used, the bad part of it is running to the bathroom to like you just came out of the bathroom, you just sat back down, and then you popping back up to go use the bathroom again. But how's it going for you thus far?
Not gonna lie, I did have a couple of pita chips yesterday, but I didn't have like no meal or no food or nothing. But I was hungry. I was still drinking water though. I know they say when you get hungry, you're supposed to drink water. But today I feel a lot better. I don't have any intention on snacking on anything outside of my liquid diet. Today is a lot better.
How long is it for?
It's just for 3 days this time.
Okay.
And then I'll probably do another 3 days next week. So it's me, my mom, and my sister. We're all doing it together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, girl. It's a struggle. I don't recommend nobody juice, but I recommend you juice if you get what I'm saying. It's hard, yo. It's
for a pimp.
Willpower. You need willpower.
Well, you got the will.
And I'm a fist to have the power, okay?
I was gonna say Jesus got the will.
I'll let him take it. Thank you, Lord.
Take it.
All right. You ready for me to go ahead and jump into this rundown so we can get into this episode?
Yes, I'm gonna push mute though.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time to get into this rundown with your girl, LoveLoudd. I think it's the first time I've said that like that. Anywho, first up in our icebreaker, we have a question asking, what is our favorite form of self-care? Yaya and I will be breaking that down for you all. Then we're going over to Suite 223, where Miss Chiquita Banana will be reciting Ocean from LoveLoudd Volume 2. Then we're heading over to Hot Topics to discuss yoga, doula, being a yogi, with our very special guest, Miss Ciarra, aka MoonhoneyYoga. And then we're going to head over to our scenario segment, where we discuss our experience of taking a yoga class with MoonhoneyYoga and what we loved about taking the class, the overall experience. And of course, at the end, we have announcements. So you make sure you tune in all the way to the end, because like I always say, there is something for everybody. So don't miss out. We could be giving something away. All right, girl. You ready to head on over to this icebreaker?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Ready. I'm ready.
Let's go.
Hey y'all, welcome to our next segment, which is our Icebreaker segment, where Monie and I will be discussing our favorite forms of self-care. Ooh, you got the big bottle of water today.
Yes, I do, honey. Liquid diet. I gotta stay hydrated, honey.
All right, so Monie, what is your favorite form of self-care?
Originally, when I was thinking about this, I was going to go with meditation, because I really, really do enjoy meditation. But there's so many types of form of meditation. I'm going to go with a specific one and say that I've come to love running. I never thought that I would be one to be like, you know what, let me just go out for a run and enjoy the morning for a little bit. Like, I actually get some type of like rush or high or like calm over me when I'm running. I lose like a space and time at some point when I'm running, listening to my music and just vibing out. And it's gotten to the point where I can run probably a good 15 to 20 minutes ish. So probably closer to 15 minutes without stopping at all. I remember when I couldn't go 5 minutes down the street without stopping because I can't breathe. So just to know that me doing it consistently over time has built up my endurance, I'm like, yes, I'm proud of myself. This is really dope.
Yes, progress.
Yes, most definitely progress. So yes, running is at the top of the list for me right now, despite the fact that my knee tries to give me some trouble from time to time. But I got something for that. I got a little, what the thing called, compression sock for my knee. But yeah, it's like now I gotta I got to get me new running shoes. The shoes that I've had for almost 2 years now, I don't literally run them into the ground.
Oh my God.
It's
I never knew that sneakers had mileage.
Yes, well, if you use them for what they're intended for.
Yeah, I remember my cousin was telling me that he was getting new sneakers because he reached his miles. And then that clicked like, oh, that's why the Nike app asks you which shoes you're wearing so they can probably advise you on when it's time for you to get new shoes.
Yeah, all that the wear and tear. Like when I say like it's
So I know
when I run into the
them
ground,
things probably talking.
put my shoe on the other day and I'm like, is that my sign?
Oh my God.
It's like a little hole forming. But when I went on my run this morning, I put them same shoes back on. I'm like, they still got a little pride in them. Oh man. But yes, running. What about you, girl? What is your favorite form of self-care?
It's interesting how we both took a pause. I didn't mean to, but I really had to think about it. It's there's so many forms, there's so many outlets. When you just asked, I thought of crying.
Oh.
Because sometimes I feel like I'm holding so much in that sometimes I don't know the words to say. So I just cry and I'm just like, I feel so much relief afterwards. And I haven't done this lately, but while I'm talking, I'm reminiscing on the times when I used to lock myself in the room, cry, but I would listen to gospel music. And it's like I'm praising God. It's like I feel so stressed out, so bugged out, but thank you God for all you've done for me. And I'll literally like have a praise, was it praise break? Like I don't catch the Holy Ghost and stuff like that, but it's just like I'm in my room just praising him by myself. So that's one way that I release stress. But prior to you literally asking me right now, I was just thinking about talking with friends who I know to talk to about certain things. So I have friends who I talk about stressing out at work. I have friends who I talk about the dating process. I have friends who I talk about finances with because, sometimes you just need to hear certain things. And I've been finding it recently beneficial to be expressive to my friends because I, in the past, have learned to keep things to myself and bottle it all in. And with speaking to other people, it just helps me to connect with people and know, like, hey, this is life. You're not the only one going through it. And that doesn't lessen my experience, but I can learn from what they went through, or I can feel supported in that it's okay to feel that way. And this is just a time frame. It's not going to last always. Trouble don't last always. Hey, no trouble don't last always. So that's my favorite. Those are my favorite forms of self-care. Like without thinking about the gym, without thinking about writing, just something that just comes natural, which is honestly, I take that natural word back because it's not natural because it can be something that's learned that it's not okay to cry, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something that is without having to go anywhere. No matter where I am, I can be in my bedroom, I could be at work, I could be in my car, I can cry. Those same places, I can be on the phone with somebody or in person with somebody, and I can speak to release what I am feeling. And even though that has to do with other people, it's still a form of self-care for me.
I definitely can feel you on the crying as a form of self-care. Because sometimes you just have that good cry and you finally let it out. Like you might have been trying to hold that back
Yes.
for a minute. And then whatever it is, whatever that moment is, something you see, something you heard, something you felt, and you finally just release all of that, whether they're tears of joy, tears of sadness, whatever the tears are coming from. It just feels so good to let them out. I just cried the other day and couldn't figure out why I was crying. I was like, I text you too. I was like, I don't know what these tears are for, but I feel like I'm in such a good mood. Like, I don't know. Things are just transforming and changing. So maybe the tears are for joy, or maybe because something's going on internally with me that I haven't realized yet. But it definitely felt good to let those tears out, though.
Yeah. And that's a key point. Like you don't have to know why it's happening, but even when you don't know, it still feels really good.
Yes, absolutely. A good hearty cry too. You're like one of them, but then one of them Viola Davis. eyes.
What?
You don't know the Viola Davis when she cried when she in the movies, like she'll give you a snot nose cry. Like
Oh yes. I was gonna say Roland
no,
David.
Viola Davis, honey. Viola Davis. She'll give you
Yes,
tears.
girl. Sometimes I cry so bad, but really so good that I feel like my knees knock. Like I'm like,
That's your
I come
knees.
down with it like, yes, my knees knock, honey.
They
I'll be
buckle.
like,
You you can't hold yourself.
oh,
Like you stand up right now and make your knees knock opposed to buckle. It's like you going like I can't wish they could see you though. Like you got your knees knock. She's knocking her knees, yo. Oh my God! Please sit down.
like I'm clapping my knees together. But I meant like this, like
Yeah, a buckle. Yes. I know what you meant. That's like knock me.
Look at my yellow legs. I need a 10.
Hey, you know what? Somebody listening may also knock their knees when they cry. So shout out to you if you also knee knocking when you breaking down. My knees buckle though.
Oh man. Whoopsie daisy. That's why you're here, to help me with my vocabulary.
That's what I do. It's me, Monie. Hey.
Wee. Hey.
We to sweet 223, ma'am.
Okay. Hey y'all, welcome to Suite 223, our poetic suite where I, Shakita Banana, will be reciting an original poem, Ocean. This poem can be found in LoveLoudd's poetry book, Volume 2. My ocean senses your aura, calm waves, pulsation at its peak, vibration yearning for you to explore her, calm waters splash to meet you at sea. Your smile illuminates over me, bringing heat to my epipelagic zone, freeing my high tide, evaporation due to the radiation of lust possessing in your eyes. Your hands glide over my mountainous thighs, my erotic, luscious hills. Through my trenches, I feel your kisses, making way for my erotic chills. Volcanic eruption, disrupting my ocean's breeze, engagement at the core, dive, sink into my challenger deep, till I'm incapable of taking anymore. Cavity filled as your rocks thrust at my pelagic zone. Darkness appears to make way due to the rolling back of mine eyes. Abyssal zone. Ears clogged with our erotic moans. Rare creatures screaming in sync, releasing cocktails of the sweetest hormones, orgasmic relief, leading your beauty into a deep, radiant sleep.
Oh, ma'am. Wait a minute. It's really back. I had to drink a sip of water. It got a little hot over here. That was a little erotica, if I am correct. Like, hold up, wait a minute. I forgot about that piece. Baby, like, what? I'm over here like erotic chills, erotic moans, rocks thrust. You got the water splashing and stuff. Would you say epipelagic zone or something like that? Volcanic eruptions, girl. Just give us the story behind the ocean. Give us a story behind ocean.
So can I flip the script this week?
Okay, flip it then.
You first. What is your take? So you're saying erotica. What do you think my inspiration comes from? What do you think? Why do you think I wrote this poem?
Sex. S-E-X.
Sex with you. What? Sex with you. That's from Marcus Houston.
Like water splashing. You talking about rocks thrusting in the eyes and the moans and girl, sex. I mean, unless it was like, I'm not gonna just say sex. Maybe it's like a beautiful moment that you had during the action of having sex. But just keeping it simple, S-E-X. First thing that comes to mind.
So if you have our poetry book, there's a poem in there called G-Spot. And I wrote that poem. I remember I was young in my 20s, and I remember texting Simone saying, yo, I want to write a poem about sex. And of course, Simone texted me back, do it then.
Right. What you waiting for?
And I was like, I don't like, how do I start it? What do I say? It was just, I didn't know what to do. So I challenged myself and I wrote the poem. And if you have the book and you read that poem, it's like, well, that poem is like, whoa, that poem is like, whoa. So after reading that poem, after writing that poem, I was like, I have to do it again. I feel like I have to do it again. And even though I don't feel that this poem hits as hard as that one, I love how this poem turned out because I didn't want it to be as straightforward as that other poem is. So this poem is talking about the layers of the ocean, the elements that you're going to find at sea, the rock, and the things that can happen, but also talking about the body. Like, it's obvious that I'm talking about, the water from my body or the water from a person's body, but at the same time, it's talking about the waters of the ocean. We're talking about the rocks, whether it's my rocks, which is the breast, or whether it's his rocks, which is his rocks. Talking about those, but we're also talking about the rocks at sea, the rocks at the ocean. And then I actually looked up the layers of the ocean while writing the poem. It's just going deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper. So this poem is about sex and just the experience that comes with it and how a woman likes to be pleased and what it takes for her to reach her orgasmic relief.
Ooh, well, you did it so eloquently. I really enjoyed it, just listening to it from line to line and now understanding that you were inspired by literally going deeper as the layers of the ocean do. Like, that just puts more spice to it, especially around the creativity of it. I love it. You go ahead, girl. That was really dope.
Do that again.
How you put the two together. Water and water. Yeah, that's nice.
I ain't got a sound effect for that. But thank you so much.
All right, honey boo boo, you know what you've got to do to take us to the next segment.
Hot topics. Hey y'all, welcome back to the CAF. We are gearing up for our hot topic segment this week, this bi-weekly week actually, because we don't come on weekly. We have a special guest in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her government name is Ciarra, but I guess we'll find out if she has any special nicknames for herself, what she does as a yogi, as a doula, all the little things, all the great things. Let's not minimize here all the great, exciting things that she does that we appreciate her for. Coming up to the stage, coming up to the yoga mat is Ciarra. How are you today?
That is hilarious. I'm definitely going to start saying that. Coming to the yoga mat. I'm good. It's Wednesday. I like Wednesdays.
Yes.
Wednesdays are usually pretty chill for me. Today was busy, but I feel good. The sun is shining. So I'm good today. I'm good.
Aren't you appreciative of this sunshine, girl?
Listen, this Georgia weather is unpredictable. So the fact that it's warm and sunny at the same time is great.
Right? Don't you love those days? I love the days when it's nice, sunny, but I got like a nice breeze. Like,
the breeze was popping.
Yes, today. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Might want a jacket, might not,
Right.
Love that. Wait a minute, how we not gonna mention that we all have attended the illustrious Clark Atlanta University? Come on now.
Gang.
Come through, CAU.
Same class too.
Proud graduate.
Same class.
Attended, lived, laughed, graduated.
Yes.
Walked across the stage.
All of that.
Yes.
We went, we saw, we conquered, okay?
Okay.
Amen. And I'll just add this one last bit because I always complain that Simone is glowing, But now Ciarra just hinted, we got the sun shining, nice weather. We see it, we feel it. Everybody's skin looks so nice. Like,
We are looking pretty
Yeah.
good.
black girl magic.
Come through melanin popping.
Melanin popping.
I might have moisturized today,
I know. I got a little vino on, little vino.
little sunblock.
SPF. Let's jump into it. So I mentioned we have Ciarra here. Tell us who you are specifically. Like, what are your qualifications?
That is such a hard question. Seeing as though I qualify myself to do a lot of stuff, but in the general sense, I am Ciarra Hodges. I, of course, graduated from the illustrious Clark Atlanta University with a degree in theater arts. I danced my way through college. I also nannied my way through college. I have always enjoyed working with families and children, and may or may not have, just been born with a slight obsession of pregnant women. Never went away. It never went away. So what I do now, or what I have been doing, see, this okay. Keep it short, Ciarra. So I graduated.
It's okay. We do a lot. We do a lot.
I'm kind of a little bit like the alchemist. That's what somebody told me. Like, you did this, and then you did that, and then you went there, and then you went here, and then it all came full circle. And I was like, yeah, it's like that. So I went to school for theater, and love the stage, love performing, but realized like after graduation that I really wasn't giving my all on like auditions and stuff like that. Like, I found myself like forcing myself to study, and I was like, ooh, I don't really ever want to do anything that I have to force myself to do, which is why I majored in theater in the first place. So why is this happening? Like, what's up, So then I came to the realization that I enjoyed directing like much, much more. And I had been, since my like undergrad internship, I had been teaching theater, and that is what was bringing me joy. So long story short, first trip overseas, went with a bunch of my HA2 sisters and some other girlfriends. For those of you who don't know what HA2 is, it's a dance team that has chapters at different colleges and universities. It's originated in Chicago. So we do mostly Chicago style dance, but also hip hop. And so we took a trip to South Africa to celebrate my sister. And I was like, wait a minute, I love travel. Like, teaching the kids is cool, but I could give it up if this means I could travel the world. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of us have discovered our love for travel, like since graduation. Like, we need to be out in these seas.
I like that, out in these seas.
Yes, like you catch me on some water somewhere or in a plane above the water. And so that became my focus, because I was at this crossroads where I was like, well, I was dead set like my whole life on being a full-time actor. And now I'm here and I don't want to be a full-time actor. So what am I going to do? I was like, oh, I can travel. And then somebody told me, this is what it messed up, y'all. Somebody told me I could get my flight paid for, my housing paid for, a full salary if I teach. I was like, well, shoot, that's what I do now. I'm a good teacher. What I got to teach?
Like, what you need me to teach?
What you need? So just a little bit of me just being naive and just ignorant to like the teaching abroad lifestyle. I was like, I'm probably gonna have to teach English. So like I went and got what's called a TEFL, which is a certificate to teach English as a foreign language. And it's pretty much all that's required. They usually do require that you have a degree, like you went to school, you graduated, some experience, but there are plenty of people that are hiring with no experience. So I'm just knowing I'm going to teach English. I really enjoy English in school. It's not my jam, but I'm like, if I get to live for free, I can do it. Come to find out, I could teach drama. So I found a job teaching drama and dance. I didn't have to teach English. So I did a year in China, in a city called Hangzhou. It was lovely. Nice. And then I left there and I moved to Kuwait, and I ended up in Kuwait for 3 years. I was like, I'm just going to go for a year and then I'm going to find somewhere else to go. Girl, got to Kuwait, settled down, got real comfortable. And I taught drama there for 3 years as well. And it was while I was in Kuwait that I discovered doulas. And I was like, okay, hold on. This travel thing's great, but could I travel and also help the mamas have the babies? Because that is, so it was just like building blocks. Like, our story got a little more complex, a little more interesting. And I used to teach yoga while I was over there as well. I started doing yoga like literally right before I left for China. And it started not even like, oh, I really want to do yoga, let me take a class. I'm really big on supporting my friends. And so one of my friends became a yoga teacher and she was like, I'm teaching classes. I was like, how come? I went. It was the hardest thing I ever did. I was like, why is it so hard? And then I got to the end and this lovely, lovely piece called Shavasana. I was like, oh, but this right here, this is my jam. And so that's how it started. And I continued doing yoga on my own when I was overseas, had a gym membership, was taking yoga classes like several days a week. And then by the time I got to Kuwait, I started teaching my own classes. So I had mapped out this whole plan. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach for one more year, but I'm going to get my doula certification when I go home for the summer and then start doing doula work here in Kuwait. So that's what I did. So I got my certification to be a birth, bereavement, and a postpartum doula. And I'll talk more about that later. And then I was teaching full time, but also doing doula work. When I did come back home in 2019, home being Atlanta, I had my plan continued. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a childbirth educator certificate. I'm going to get my yoga teacher training done. Like I had all these things. And the things were going great. And then COVID happened. So we're going to wrap it up right there. But those are pretty much my qualifications. That's where I am in life, what I do, how I got here. And yes, I am still teaching.
That's so dope.
Yeah. What a curriculum vitae. That is, I know you. And I remember, like, it's like I'm going down memory lane as you're saying this. Like, okay, I did this in college. I was dancing. I was doing this. I went to this country and that. And I'm like, oh, she did. Oh, yeah, she did. And
oh, yeah.
yeah, like you did do all these things. And it's crazy how it comes into full play. And it's like one thing led you to the next thing, led you to the next thing. But it's all steps to a higher calling. It's amazing just to see you blossom in the way that you did. Like, dang, come on, memory lane.
Thank you.
I was about to say something similar. Like, it's crazy how life takes you on this journey. You think you have one thing in mind, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And you end up somewhere else, but it still coincides with what your original plan was, but just not what you thought it was going to be. I know y'all feel me. I ain't got to go into detail.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I definitely have had moments where I was like, I feel like I'm all over the place. Like, I feel like and I had to have people, luckily, good support system. I had to have people tell me like, no, like nothing you're doing is whimsical. You're not flighty. Like, you're just following the path that's set out for you. And I was like, thank you. Cause sometimes it be feeling like, well, now I'm gonna do this.
Right. But it still makes sense.
Sometimes when we hear other people's inspiring or motivating stories, we feel like, well, damn, I feel burdened by all the stuff that I'm doing. But for you to put it in that light and say, yo, sometimes I felt like, what the hell am I doing? Or it's too much, or am I sure I want to go this route? But I still did it. But thanks to my support system, I was able to maintain focus and not give up on myself, even though I felt like it was too much at times, or I felt confused about what I was doing on that journey.
Confusion is the word. That's the key. It's confusion. But between my support system and somebody introducing multi-potentiality to me, and it's pretty specific to our generation. Well, not our generation, but like just the younger generation, in that where before it used to be like, oh, this is what I want to be when I grow up, and this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life until I graduate. Now we have people who are like, how many streams of income can we create? Like, okay, that was good for 5 years, but now I'm retired in that. Now I'm gonna move on to do, you know what I mean? And so it's like just being able to be told that what I'm doing is okay. Like, it's okay to like change your mind, to flow, to evolve, and be confident in that.
Yes, I could talk about that all day. That'd be a whole nother episode, whole nother segment. As far as like following your dreams, your passions, and just allowing your life to just flow. You know what I'm saying? Just go with the flow of your life.
Yes. Speaking of flow, let's talk about yoga when you flow with your body. So I have a question for you, Ciarra. When I introduced you, I mentioned yogi and doula. How do those things coincide, if they do, or is it just something that you partnered up yourself?
In the beginning, I honestly thought it was something I put together myself because I be remixing stuff. But but it actually all falls under the wellness category. And I know that wellness and self-care is like something that's so oversaturated, and we hear about it so often that it becomes like this almost like elusive thing. Like, what is it really? What I can be grateful for is that it does align, specifically between just assisting families who are expecting a child or children if they're having multiples. As a doula, I come in and I support birth in any trimester. That's a part of being a bereavement doula as well, is that I also support people who are facing pregnancy loss or certain complications or special circumstances, or if you have a situation where you anticipate your baby being born alive, but they may not survive. Even if your baby is going to survive, but your baby is in the NICU because you had a preterm birth, or just there are like many, many things that fall under the bereavement doula category. But I support parents that way, support parents when they bring their babies home. And then on the yoga side of things, I teach prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, and then mom and baby yoga, which I actually haven't started offering yet, but I will be rolling out soon. So they align in the sense that it's all about caring for yourself. It's about advocating for yourself. And I know that yoga and advocacy don't always go together, but it really is an opportunity to advocate for yourself, because there are so many people saying that yoga should be done this way, or this is how you teach a yoga class, or you can't teach a class unless you're certified. All these Western ideals that we've placed upon this thing that's been around way before certifications and papers and whatever sort of rules we want to place on it. And we do tend to be our own worst critics, our own worst judge. And so it's like, you have to know that you have to be your own advocate when you're in a yoga class. If you're doing something or the teacher suggests something, and I say suggest on purpose, you don't have to do everything they say. Whatever they suggest for you to do is just a suggestion. And you need to know that whenever you want to, you can take a rest and go into child's pose, or you can do something different. Or if you want to do something a bit more, if you're like, oh, I'm not really challenged, I want to take it a step further, do your thing. Your practice is yours. So just advocating for your wellness, for really showing up for yourself, and that connection between mental and physical health.
That is amazing. I honestly didn't even know that there was doulas for bereavement. And I can understand why that is necessary. Like, I know people that have lost their children, and I can't even imagine exactly what they're going through and how they're feeling and what the process that they would need to go through in order to continue moving forward in their life, having gone through that experience. So the fact that that's even available, that's amazing.
Yeah, I Simone just took what I was going to say out of my mouth, because that's what shook me. When hearing doula, you think the person that's sitting next to you coaching through pushing out your baby, or even yoga for prenatal yoga, you think about mommy and me classes and the different poses to practice, get your body comfortable for having a baby. But I never thought of the traumatical, is that a word, part of it.
It's a word now.
It's a word now. So I never thought of the traumatical parts of what you have to do. And it's just like, wow, how do you even cope with all those things, being that person that's by somebody's side when they have to go through basically bereavement?
I'll just tell you what I usually tell people who are interested in being a bereavement doula, or supporting the other side of parenthood, which is like postpartum depression or perinatal depression or perinatal mood disorder. Like, there's all these different aspects that nobody likes to talk about. I mean, let's be honest, we don't even really like to talk about birth. Like, it's like baby shower, oh my gosh, maternity shoot, and then it's like, oh, you had the baby, okay, call you later. Right. So
let me see the baby.
Right. Let me see the baby pictures.
And that's usually what it is. But having someone, whether it's your doula, your mom, a friend who's also a parent and understands, to show up for you, like as a mom, as a person who isn't just being overlooked or overshadowed by their pregnancy or by their baby. That's really, really important. And I would even argue that it's even more important if you're facing pregnancy loss, or if you're facing what we like to call mighty giants, like babies who have to be in the NICU for a while, because that is, you're grieving a lot of things, which is why it's still called bereavement. You're grieving the idea of having what people refer to as a normal birth, where like things go as planned. Even if you have a complication here or there, you still get to take your baby home. Whereas if your baby's in the NICU, you're going home every day and having to come back to the hospital every day, because once you're better, you're discharged. But your baby may be in the NICU for weeks or months, just depending on like the individual circumstance. So that is like you're grieving what you thought things would be like, or what things are usually like in a traditional birth. To say that it's tough is probably an understatement, but you have to remember, especially if you're interested in participating in this type of work, that is not about you. So emotions are going to come up. If you're in this type of like this field of work, you probably are on some level empathetic. Like, most people, even if you're not traditionally empathetic, if you see something on a movie, like it will make you feel something. But those emotions, those feelings have to be compartmentalized, put to the side, because your job is not to show up to anybody else's birth, or just like whatever sort of consultations or meetings that you're having with them, and make it about you. And I know that it's like, well, no, it's not about me. I'm just also feeling too. You don't get to feel right now. Like you get to show up and do your job, because it is still a job. It's a very personal job, but it's still a job. So it's tough, but my recommendation is just that you have your own support system. Like I have a person that I call when I'm struggling, like, and don't be afraid to say like, okay, I'm just gonna step outside for a second, or, whatever, so that you can deal with your emotions and your feelings, and unpack everything that you've just given, so that you can replenish. But you definitely do need to work through it. It's just having that system set up, somebody you can talk to, somebody you can call, some sort of ritual that you can do, just to kind of like pour back into yourself, because it's tough, but it is necessary.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad that we asked that question to have you share what you just shared, because like I said earlier, when hearing doula, you don't know all of these things. So maybe somebody's listening and you may be aspiring them to tap into that. So I'm glad that you're able to share all the information that you did, just because I just learned something. Simone, we, like, you can see our reactions, like, what, we didn't know that. So we're learning something new today, and I really appreciate you for opening up and sharing this information with us. So you tapped into the doula world, and you kind of hinted towards basically like your journey with being a student and going overseas, etc., and taking your friend's class with yoga that kind of got you into, or seems like your introduction into yoga. But what does yoga actually mean to you?
What does yoga mean to me? Okay. Going a little deeper. So yoga is more than just the physical practice. We have what's called the 8 limbs, or what's referred to as the 8 limb path. And essentially it's a path to enlightenment in the yogic world. And asana, or like physical movement, the postures and things like that, it's just one of the 8 limbs on the path. Not supposed to have favorites, but I do. My favorites on the path are the yamas and the niyamas, because they deal with like your place in the world, and then like your place with yourself, basically. And they teach things like non-attachment, like contentment, like truthfulness, all these morals that we've been taught since like probably pre-K, since birth, to be honest. But like, oh, you should be this way, you should do this, you should do that. It just takes a little deeper and gives you real life perspective. And so what yoga has come to mean to me is everyday practice. So even when I'm not physically on the mat, how am I able to pour into the world? How am I able to pour into myself by practicing these things, by not attaching myself to results, including what we were talking about earlier, career paths, just like being able to flow and move and be fluid. And then as well, truthfulness, like not only being honest with others, but also being honest with myself, because that's the foundation. That's the most important thing. So yoga to me is never ending. It's something that you do all the time. It's a constant life lesson. It's a constant reminder of the kind of person that I want to be. And again, favorites, like that's my favorite part of yoga. I have favorite postures and stuff, but like nothing compares to the spiritual and emotional journey that I've been on since practicing yoga.
Everything that you're saying sounds so therapeutic. That's like, I'm just like, I feel a little calm coming over me just hearing you speak about everything that it deals with. And I'm like, yo, she's just a therapist. She's a therapist, but just doing it not on the couch with a notepad, just in a different way. And it's just beautiful. I'm like, oh, I love it.
Thank you so much for that. There is yoga therapy. Like that is an actual thing. One thing I love about therapy is that there's so many different modalities. Like if you don't want to sit down and talk, like you could do music therapy, you can do yoga therapy. Like there's so many ways to get your feel.
See, I didn't even know yoga could be so in depth. Like I know it's relaxing and you can meditate and I can, strengthen certain parts of my body with certain poses. But from that aspect of like my life and my purpose and things like that, I never knew that. So it's like, okay, come on, let's do some more yoga.
Yes, I love it. I don't see myself ever departing from yoga. I don't see myself ever living like, it's one of those things where it's like once you discover it, like we here, it's like your favorite food or a bomb restaurant, just anything else. Like once you know it's there, oh, it's it's a wrap. I would definitely recommend one of my favorite books about my favorites on the alien path is this book called The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. It is also on Audible for those of you who like to listen to books instead of read them. It's a short read, but it puts in perspective like the yamas and niyamas. It makes sense of it. It brings a real world perspective. And again, those are only two of the 8. So if you want to dive a little deeper, there's some other books, but I think that's a great book to start with.
So also tapping into what you mentioned earlier, Ciarra, when your friend brought you to her yoga studio and said, join me. And then you looked around like, oh, what? Like, what is this? So with that, as you know, because you were once a beginner, when beginners see yoga and it's like too intimidating, the poses is too much, this is not for me, I'm not trying to break a bone or nothing, but I want the benefits of what comes from yoga. So what do I do?
Yes, they do look intimidating and they feel intimidating. I'm being honest with you. Let me tell you something about Downward Dog. We have a very complicated relationship. Okay. When I went to the first yoga class I went to, again, it was my friend's class. Her name's Nina. We call her Nina Beans. She had gotten like deep into yoga and like acro yoga, and she was doing all these like handstands and like amazing things to her body. And I was like, this is so cool. I never once thought like, oh, I'm going to go to her class and that's what we're going to do. I definitely didn't think that. And most yoga classes are not that because they're set up by level. So you're going to want to look for an all levels class or a beginner's class. The thing is, yoga is set up to challenge you, depending on what type of yoga you're practicing. Some people practice yoga in the sense that like, oh, we're doing this movement so that we can calm the body, center the energy in the body, which is why we do Shavasana, which is the part at the end where you lay down and close your eyes. It's amazing. And then once you've centered that energy in your body, then you can go on and like meditate. So the energy in your body is centered. And so now your mind can be more clear. Some people practice yoga specifically for the physical benefits. Most people start practicing yoga because they see a pose they want to do. Most people. So they're like, ooh, I want to be able to do a handstand. Ooh, I want to be able to do the splits, or ooh, I want whatever pose you saw on Instagram that was like, that looks really cool. How do I do it? That's how most people get started with yoga. And then yoga ends up changing their life. I'm not saying that to scare you. It's so much deeper than the postures, right? So you without even trying, discover this other side of yoga. And you start seeing changes and shifts in your life and the way you view the world and stuff like that. And so then you get to a point where I like to say like yogi status, but risks are always involved, especially if you're like, ooh, I want to stand on my head. Like there's a saying, like we get into postures by letting go. So A lot of it is like, ooh, I need to work really, really hard to get in this posture. No, really, you need to just let go of your expectations, let go of holding your breath, let go of whatever tension you're holding in your body. It's a brain exercise as well as a physical exercise. So if that's your goal, it's perfectly fine for that to be your goal. But know as well that if you're like, I don't ever want to stand on my head, I don't ever want to put my feet in the air, I never want to be able to do the splits, that's also okay. Yoga is for everybody. The bending, the breaking, the like really deep, like contortionist postures, those postures, to be honest, the benefit is not that much greater than doing a modified version. You know what I mean? So like there's yoga for your kidneys, there's yoga for menstrual pain, there's yoga for anxiety, there's yoga for like literally all these different types of things. And most of it is something that the average person can walk in a studio and do. And then just going back to what I said in the beginning, knowing that even if it's something that you can do, even if you know you can do it, every day is a different scenario. Your body needs something different every day. I especially stress this for my women because of our cycles. And I don't mean just the menstrual cycle, but the actual 21 to 35 day cycle, right? Different phases of your cycle. When you're ovulating, you need this. When you are post ovulation, you need that. Like your body just goes through all these different changes. And so on different days of the month, you need different things. So if you're like, no, I'm going to like practice this every single day, you're not really listening to or honoring your body, which is the bare minimum. So whatever class you walk into and they say, okay, let's do this, stretch a little deeper, do that. If you don't want to stretch a little deeper, just don't stretch a little deeper. And let me tell you, if they try, like if it's a problem, that's not the studio you want to be in. You don't want to be in the studio that's like, no, this is how we do yoga. Because the way you do yoga is not the way I do yoga. I'm a little bit of I'm competitive, So I was like, downward dog, this is stupid. Why does it hurt so much? But I also was like, I need to get this. So I kept going back. Some people are not like that, but whatever your motivation is, know that there are so many different types of yoga and it can be so beneficial. And you don't have to stand on your head. I promise.
I have felt that downward dog pain. Like, yo,
Girl.
what the hell is this? Why am I in this position? I want to do something else. I'm going to try to stick it out. No, I'm going back to child's pose. I'm not about to do this right now. Let me just lay on the floor and stretch out my back a little bit.
A word, okay? A word. Know your limits.
Right.
Know your limit.
Exactly. Like,
here.
I'm comfortable here.
And I will try that again tomorrow.
See, I'm glad that a yogi who I look at as dope and well at her craft, she has things that she doesn't like too, or she saw her struggles too. But the most important part is, I think, what we all forget, even when exercising and life in general, just breathe. Just breathe and know your limits, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, I'm good. Just take a step back from that. That's not for me, but y'all do y'all thing. I'll crawl into whatever next pose that's comfortable for me.
I am cracking up at crawling too.
Because that was me. That was me. Like, oh, I can't do that, but let me go back to the last one.
I can make it.
This was an amazing conversation and very intellectual. I honestly didn't feel or think that I was gonna gain as much knowledge that I did. I thought it would just be a surface conversation, but you gave so much depth to us. I learned some things, and now I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of want to look into those specific things that you said. So we have to drop that book that you mentioned in the on our page or in our information, so other people can get into that. But I'm really appreciative, Ciarra. Like why do people keep dropping gems? We do not put that in our email.
We don't tell y'all to drop the gems. Y'all just drop them.
Coming on the truth carpet requires that you drop at least 7 gems, and if you can't, then need not apply.
Hey,
that was the word on the street. That's what I had heard.
We said standards, okay?
Right, and
standards,
and you exceeded them, and we love you for that.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? In today's scenario segment, we have Ciarra joining us to talk about a class that we took of hers, MoonhoneyYoga to be specific. We took a deep restorative stretch. I feel like I've said it wrong, and I know I just asked what it was. Deep restorative.
It's all
deep
of that.
Restorative stretch yoga. We did a little meditation. Ciarra, can you please explain to the people exactly the class that we took, and then we will let the people know about our experience with taking it.
Sure. So you all took part in one of my pre-recorded classes, which are available online in my online studio. And you did the deep stretch and restorative yoga. So deep stretch is really just where we take time to stretch out our bodies. A lot of times in yoga, we do warm up, we do tone, we do, all these things, but we don't necessarily stop to like stretch. So I specifically started the class with some deep stretching, opening up some hips, some hamstrings, things like that. And then we do some restorative postures, and restorative is exactly what it sounds like. We rest. So we sit in the postures for a long time and take what I like to call mini naps because we deserve it.
And I definitely loved it, because I know for a fact what I enjoyed most was the fact that it felt very, very meditative, and it was slow paced. It wasn't too fast. I didn't have to go out of nothing into something else too soon. And I think also the fact that I came out of working out all week, I needed a deep stretch. Sometimes I forget to stretch, or my stretches aren't long enough, and I forget to add that to my routine. So my body was definitely appreciative of the fact that I was stretching, and not just stretching. I was stretching parts of my body that I didn't even know needed stretching, like my wrists. I was like, we're stretching out our wrists right now? What is this?
Listen, in the world of the panoramic, where everybody is constantly on their computers and typing, that alone, not to mention holding cell phones, texting, that alone is reason for everybody to be stretching their wrists.
That was it for me.
For me, so I think this is my only my third time ever taking a yoga class. Prior to this, it may have been a year and a half, 2 years ago that I participated in a yoga class. And what I enjoyed most was, of course, your calmness, the way that you spoke, your smile. Like, it was just so inviting for me to participate in it. It's like, okay, this is gonna be nice. Okay, thank you. Go speak to me like that. Then speak to me like that. I also enjoyed what you mentioned before, is knowing what you can do and knowing what you're not ready to do. And I'm not going to say can't do, because we can graduate, we can go from one step to another and push ourselves to do more, but whenever we're ready to. And you were inviting to that. You said, okay, this is what we're going to do next. But if your body, I forget your language of it, which was also great. It was like, okay, so it's okay if I don't. It's okay if I do it a modified way. And it helped me to feel accepted. So if I didn't feel that way and you didn't say that, I would have wanted to just turn it off or just leave the room and left Simone by herself. But it was like, all right, I see Simone. Go ahead, Simone. You finishing that pose. But I'm going to crawl back down. I'm going to get back down on this floor, because that's where I know my limits. But it was really calming all together. The stretches, the meditation, the wrapping myself in a blanket at the end, all of it. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And we started it in the morning, and it was a great start for my weekend and for my day. Like, perfect start.
Here is 8 a.m. So I was doing 8 a.m. yoga. Never done yoga at 8 a.m., but it was definitely the perfect start.
That's basically sunrise.
But yes, it was very, 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 very inviting. I definitely did enjoy that aspect of it. You brought the right vibe. Okay.
The vibe is so important.
It's a matter of, am I going to go through this whole thing, or am I going to stop in the middle? Am I going to continue, or am I just going to look at the rest of the screen and be like, I guess I could try that the next time. I'm not about to do that today.
That's
Speaking
real.
of which, not doing this today. I think the difficult part for me, the most difficult part of the class, has to be the downward dog. I don't know what it is about that pose. It seems like I'm holding it forever. Like, Like similar to like holding a plank. It seems like 1 minute just time stands still when you're in a plank. It's like the same thing happens while I'm in downward dog. I'm like, we're not about to move yet. Like my arms, my shoulders. But one thing I must say, because it wasn't my first time doing yoga, so I can say for myself that I am proud of the fact that I can hold it a lot longer than I was able to when I first started. When I first started, it was kind of like, oh no, my arms are saying stop. Now it's like, I can hold this just a my arms are saying I can hold this just a little bit longer and wait until it's time to move on to the next pose. So that part of it, I probably enjoyed that part of the class too. The fact that I understood that, I've graduated to a little bit more strength in this part of my body and I can recognize it. So I know that, okay, I can go a little deeper. I could maybe go down a little bit, come back up, it was nice. And I think the easiest part for me was, I would say, meditation, because I love just meditation in general and the meditation portion. So after doing like all of the stretching and just being already in a relaxed state, but then like just closing the eyes and just going into like a space like for yourself and breathing and listening to the chimes and your voice and just going into, I'm not even sure what to call it, but it's always like in just like that meditative zone where it's just, you can make that peace whatever you want it to be. Are you setting in intention? Are you thinking about nothing? It's just, where are you placing yourself? Am I on a beach right now? Like that's what I love about meditation. So that was the easiest part for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I truly appreciate it.
Of course.
Can we just name this episode The Downward Dog?
Listen, the downward dog is really your friend, but it's that one friend that you have that's telling you all the things you're not ready to hear when you didn't ask for their opinion.
Come on, downward dog.
That's the downward dog. And so it takes a little getting used to. And once you just accept that friend for who they are, it's like, oh, I've learned to love you. Like, look at you building me up and making me better. It's beneficial. You just don't always want it.
Right.
So I feel the same way that you ladies shared. For me, I kept giving it a try over and over again, even though I had to stand up a few times and get back down. Just looking back at the screen like, oh, thanks, Simone. I didn't see you drop, Simone. But in my head, and for what these two eyes saw, I'm like, dang, Simone's still going. Ciarra still. All right, I guess I'm gonna keep trying. I don't want this thing to not see me giving it my all. So, okay, I'm going to reset and restart. But dang, this thing hard. Like, oh, my body, maybe my arms ain't long enough to touch the floor. I can't reach the floor.
You looking at me, but I'm like, I'm down here. I'm like, where is she going? Like, why is she not down here with me? Why is she leaving?
I was resetting and restarting.
And that's why they say, keep your eyes on your mat. That's why they say. Don't be worried about what she doing and what he doing over there. What you doing is your business.
No, but it was just like, I just happened to look up. I'm like, okay, is she still in this pose or we going to something else? Like, nah, we still here. All right, let me go back down. But since we on Zoom, I'm like, okay, where's she going? Why she? Okay, let me go back down now.
Did it freeze? No, I'm playing.
I was hoping that. I feel like it did at one point. I was like, okay. Didn't it freeze?
It didn't. We still in it. And you know why?
Right.
Downward dog is a resting posture. So downward dog is in the same category as child's pose. Now, does it feel like it's in the same category as child's pose?
Absolutely not.
No, it doesn't. But when done right, and when you remove that mental block, because a lot of it is mental. A lot of it is like, this is hard. And once you've decided it's hard, it's going to continue being hard. So if you can reframe your thinking to like, oh, I'm going to rest in downward dog, and try to look at it that way. And then making sure you're balancing out, which it takes some practice to balance out the weight between your heels and your hands. Because naturally what people do is like, oh, I'm holding myself up with my hands and all the weight is going into their wrists, their arms, their shoulders, your neck get a little tired. Next thing you know, you like, ooh, okay. Like, Ooh, how much longer? How much longer? But really, you're supposed to be pulling back so that you're balancing the weight between the two. I'm gonna tell you right now, it takes practice. Like it takes practice. So if you want to keep at it, you and downward dog can get nice and acquainted, but it's a struggle bus. It's a struggle bus posture.
Struggle bus.
Struggle bus.
As far as the overall experience, like I definitely enjoyed it from beginning to end. Like I said, my body needed to be stretched out. I was tight in places. I was like, oh wow, okay, all right. Oh, I needed that stretch, especially like for my back. The back issues I have are ridiculous. I'm like, I am too young for my back to be in this much pain. What did I do? But I feel like with the specific restorative stretching that we did, my back felt brand new. I was on a cloud all day. And I didn't even do yoga.
Yes,
it was restorative stretching.
Come on, floating through the weekend. I love it.
Floating through the weekend. Just, okay, nobody see me.
I keep forgetting, y'all. Then I'll be able to see our reactions.
Right. So, y'all, I'm just demonstrating how I was walking on the cloud. It's very
picture her
poetic.
like living her best life. Like, you know, she got everything is in alignment. Everything worked out for her. She woke up early today. Like, it's all of that. That's how she walking.
Right. And I have come to realize too, because I have been waking up very early as of late. I think maybe for the past 2 months. So like just doing an activity in the morning to get the body going, whether you working out, going for a run, doing yoga, it makes such a big difference in the day. I definitely realized that. I was like, you know what? I might exchange my workout for yoga instead, just because it just gives a different vibe. I mean, the working out gets my heart pumping and flowing, but yoga is just, I don't float when I work out.
You know where to find me, because I don't float when I work out either. I always tell people like, I don't work out. I do yoga. I go for runs. I go for walks. You know, that workout, that gym life. That's not for me. It's a whole different vibe.
Overall, I loved the experience. It was really rejuvenating for me, very welcoming. It made me feel like even if this was my very first time, and I felt like it was my very first time again, I felt like I can do this again. And I was speaking with Simone about it. I've always wanted to incorporate yoga or meditation, something calming into my routine. And I just felt like it's out of reach for me. Just like the poses that we spoke about before, it seems intimidating. You know that lady, ain't nobody got time for that. Like
Me.
that's what ain't nobody got time for that. Like it's not for me. I'll stay in my lane. But just taking your class and having that experience, and just like I said, the language that you used and the way that you spoke and the tone that you spoke and the pace that you gave, it was like, okay, maybe this is for me. And it just set my mind up, because I was having a stressful week prior to be honest. And it kind of just like that deep breath, that big hug that I gave myself at the end, just giving myself intention for that day, for the rest of the weekend. I loved it. And I will give it a 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
It was great. Right. So you know what you got to do so other people know where to find you and get your classes.
So as I mentioned earlier, in the last segment, I do have an online studio, which was made possible by the pandemic. But as with most other things, now that, you know, things are starting to open back up and things like that, people are still like, no, this, you know, do stuff from home thing is pretty convenient. So wherever you are in the world, currently, I am hosting 3 to 4 live classes a month. And I have pre-recorded classes on my website. My website is super simple. It's MoonhoneyYoga. That's it. And once you get there, you're going to want to make sure that you fill out the top portion if it's your first time practicing with me. That is to protect me and you. So if you are in my class, I want to know if you have any pre-existing conditions, any special circumstances, any injuries, you know, how deep you are into your yoga practice. That helps me to be a better teacher for you. And then, of course, the liability agreement, we got to sign that, because because small businesses. So make sure if you have not taken a yoga class with me that you fill that portion out, get registered. Once you do that, you will never have to do it again, for the foreseeable future. And you can sign up for classes from there. You can do just the pre-recorded classes. If you're like, none of your live classes work for my schedule, that's cool. Pre-recorded classes, you can join the online studio for $20 a month and have access to all the pre-recorded content. Or you can just pay for the pre-recorded content on its own. It's there to buy individually as well. When you do a pre-recorded video, it's available to you for 24 hours. Joining my live classes is pretty simple once you've registered. Please feel free to reach out to me if you need help with registration. But signing up for those is really easy. I do a donation-based class once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, which means you can take it for free. You can give me up to $8 if you want. And that happens on Tuesday evenings. And then I do a class that is also donation-based specifically for birth workers on the last Tuesday of every month. So you've got options. If none of that interests you, you can book a private class with me. I do private classes on a sliding scale, and that includes meditation. So hit me up. You can find me at MoonhoneyYoga, which is my website. My Instagram is at @SeeMoreSayLess. That's CIMORE, say less, spelled exactly as it sounds. Or you can email me at Ciarra@MoonhoneyYoga.
And y'all be able to get that because y'all know we're going to tag us. So when y'all go to our page, boom, her name will be right there if you need to find her. If you have any questions, as she said, MoonhoneyYoga, y'all have options. So get started. You've been thinking about yoga, go ahead and do it. What you waiting for? It's right. It's a little bit of something for everybody.
Make me think of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. You got plans? You know you ain't got no plans. Come to yoga.
Don't say that. Come here.
Don't say that. Come to yoga.
Come to yoga. Yes, but as we said before, we've definitely loved having you. This has been a very great experience. Learned something new that I definitely didn't know about yoga before. And all of y'all, I'm going to say it one last time. Go to MoonhoneyYoga. All right? And sign up for a class because you have options. Okay?
What you need, I got it.
Right. Exactly. And she does, you said personal classes too, right? So, hey.
Yep.
Booms for your needs, for exactly what you need. She got you.
Whatever you need.
Whatever you need.
Okay. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Let's roll out the scenario segment. This was fun. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. Where you at, girl? You usually bobbing and rocking and leaning, and you ain't even with me today. Do I need to sing it again?
Yeah.
For real?
I wasn't ready. I was dancing, but by the time you look, I realized I have my notes open. Okay, so our June question of the month, we have, what do you appreciate most about the men in your life? Let us know. We'll be posting our question of the month on our Instagram page as we do every month. And just comment down below. You can also comment when you see us post our YouTube videos or on Facebook or on Twitter.
Right, we got all these platforms.
Well, we got mad platforms. But let us know. Oh, you can also comment under this here podcast. You can leave us a review under the podcast and just say QOTM dash and then whatever your answer is, and we'll see it. So yeah, let us know what it is that you appreciate most about the men in your life.
And speaking of all these platforms that we have, you can use those platforms as a way to support us, whether it's liking, commenting, subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a review, sending it in a DM, sending it in an email, telling us in person, sending us a text message, whatever form of communication you want to use. Let us know what you think. Also, what you can do, you can even leave us a message on Anchor. You can leave us a voice message to let us know what you think of the episodes, right?
That's cute.
Right. Yes. We could even include it in the podcast when you use the voice message on Anchor. Yes. So if you want to be included in the podcast some way, somehow, that's the way for you to do it. And we always post all of our reviews on our website on the review tab. So if you're not even sure what you want to say or how you want to word your review, use the other reviews on the website as an example. They're also on our IG page.
Yes. And speaking of IG, if you're not following us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, here's your chance. You can find us by looking us up, LoveLoudd on Facebook.
With 2 D's.
With 2 D's.
Amen.
And Instagram and Twitter. You can find us. Just put LoveLoudd. You're gonna see a little Abby of 2 girls looking ever so happy with like big fringy dresses on. Green fringy dresses on. That's us. Make sure you support us by doing those things.
And last but certainly not least, we have to announce we got new merch alerts. Can I get a horn, please? Can I get a horn, please, for the new merch?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a second. Hold on. Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna keep practicing.
New merch alert is going down, y'all. We have a LoveLoudd crop top just in time for the ladies for the SUMMER. June 20th is the first day of summer, but we are going to be ready soon.
Yes.
To drop it on the 19th. So if you haven't already seen it, it's on our page. It's not going to be able to be purchased until the 19th. That is when it's going to drop. New merch alert, y'all. Ladies, get your crop top on for summer 2021. We outside. Yo, your face right now.
We outside. Waxed up and waxed up.
Waxed up, crop tops, don't stop, we out.
Hey, summer 2021. Summer 2021.
Hey, get it. I told y'all earlier, like the summer, I can't wait. This is gonna be a great summer. I'm manifesting it right now.
Yes.
And this was a great episode.
And we are gonna be manifesting, right? We are gonna be manifesting. We are gonna be money festing. We are gonna be healthy festing. We are going to be festivities festing. We are going to be living, and we're gonna be incorporating more yoga, more self-care, more self-love, more exercise, more water. Let me take a sip and you take this over.
I'm gonna take a sip too though. Hold on. You know, I gotta keep drinking and stay hydrated. Drink. And we are gonna be living our best lives. I know that song came out 4 or 5 years ago, but we're gonna be I'm living my best life.
Our best lives. 2021, incorporating all of the great things, all of the good advice from Ciarra, all of the good gems that she dropped this episode, and living our best black. If you're not black, listen to this episode. We love you, but we're gonna be living our best black lives this summer 2021.
Whatever race you are, whatever culture you represent, live that best life.
Amen. You have any last words for the people, Monie?
Do not. Girl, you said a mouthful, and I agree. We out here doing what we need to do to be the best us. Be the best we, okay?
Okay. And so, thank you guys. Thank you, men, women, whoever you are, for listening to our episode, and we will be back in your ears in 2 more weeks.
2 weeks. Oh, I held that one long.
Yes. Stay black.
Stay proud.